All right, everybody, welcome to tonight's lesson. Hopefully, you guys are ready. All right, for tonight, we are not going to be doing your usual coding tonight. Instead, tonight it's all about understanding how to use community repositories, or also known as community assets or community prefabs. So, for the first 5 lessons of this tutorial series, I've been going over objects you can find in the Unity Asset Store. Now, the Unity Asset Store by itself is awesome stuff. I'm not going to cap. There's some awesome stuff up there, and please do purchase some stuff from the community, from the Unity Asset Store, because there's some very good prefabs that you can use in your VR chat world. But what if I told you there's more out there than the Unity Asset Store, and I want to show you guys how to start getting into deeper into VR chat world development. So as you guys can see here, I did remake the our little house. It's now a little bit of a motel apartment thing. Okay, but my goal here is to show you guys community assets. And you already see one now with this truck. What does this truck have to do with today's lesson? That's actually from the community. So in your creator companion, uh, go to your creator companion. What you want to do to get to community assets, or you learn how to start finding them, you go to your project. In the project, you go to manage project. Then you want to select this arrow. You want to select manage packages. As you guys can see here, I have a lot of packages here, and that's because I imported some of, some of these from the community, most notably Wolfgang and Varneon, Varneon over here. And we're going to take a look at some of them, not all of them. I just want to give you guys a look at how they work. We also have pickup inventory and the inside camera, which you saw in the last lesson. But I want to show you guys more than just the stuff here, because obviously there's more than just this. So how do we get all the truck? It's from M Melon, ladies and gentlemen. Stack. So here is where I found it, and I'm going to link it to this in later on. So this is the prefabs for VRChat, everything, mostly everything that you can find in the community. Now, obviously speaking, yeah, they want you to use them because it is made for you guys as VRChat world developers. Okay, let's say you want to make a world for surfing. This guy made a world, a prefab that lets you surf in VRChat, no cap. Okay, let's say you want to like do something about beer pong. You want to play beer pong. Several of several VRChat developers are also prefab makers or asset developers. And like for example, beer pong is a popular activity in VRChat. So this is there for you. And I'm going to go ahead and link this to you guys right now so you guys can have it. So make sure you guys check that out. The next thing, and then we're gonna see a few of those from there, just to show you guys, hey, there's more than what meets the eye. So let's go ahead and do a arcade. So I'm gonna grab the the ski ball. I believe it's somewhere here. It's not in alphabetical order, I do not think. I know it's right here, version 1.3. You click on the link that it gives you. Now, do note that some prefabs will cost you money, some prefabs will not cost you money, and others are Patreon only. So do keep that in mind if you are trying to find some prefabs. Don't forget one other important announcement about these prefabs. You are technically using something from the community. So if you are in your VRChat world and you want to give credit, all you have to do is do what we did when we did the whole buttons thing, and instead of doing buttons, you do text with the UI and give them credit. So what you have to do is open the file and you're going to see this icon, the Unity icon. If you see the Unity icon, double click and make sure you have your Unity open. All right. Now you saw I have two Unity versions. Unity 6 is for I'm working on a game I'm developing, but that's not for right now. We're going to press import. So once we have done, we can now start like diving deep into the whole Unity thing. And all you have to do after that point is just like regular world development. You just plop it down in your world and you're done. Test and all that good stuff. Now do keep in mind that um what do other people want to play with? Keep in mind that this is right now what we just showed you is just a sample of what you can do. There's plenty more assets you can find in a Unity asset store, pre in the database, and boot BOOTH. And there's another source I just found something cool with that I want to dive deep into, and that is it's.io. Normally you would see that for video game indie games, but some people have gone there to develop assets for Unity and all that. And I want to show you guys that today. So, where are we going to place the arcade? That's a good question. So, as you guys can see here, I have an apartment set up. Now, I will warn you, some of the packages are not from, are not going to give you that Unity icon. Instead, what you want to do is drag it to your assets folder of your project. That's what you want to do when you go into Unity. So let me show you the ski ball that we just added. Now as you guys can see, I divided it in two. I'm just gonna go ahead and plop our ski ball into our little world here. I believe it is this guy. Yes. And we are going to use the ski ball prefab right here. Ta-da! There's a ski ball. There's a ski ball, and you can play. It's literally plug and play. Well, almost plug and play. You do need to make sure everything works correctly. And we're gonna make sure this is by the wall, just so that we are in line with our laws of physics. And to test it, all you have to do to test is basically do what you regularly do. Build and test from the SDK. I will tell you sometimes if you connect something with a networking thing, you're going to have to reassign network IDs, which I will show you how to do in a moment. That's it. That's all you have to do for this particular prefab. But I want to show you guys there's multiple ways to do this. And we're going to show you guys a mini golf system that somebody made. I believe it's on Boot or something. I remember somebody made a mini golf system for VR, for VR chat. I want to make sure I know where it is. But we're going to dive deep into that one a little bit later. Because what I want to show you guys first is the community prefabs on like the database or something like Boot. Because everybody knows the Unity Asset Store because it's the Unity Asset Store. I will tell you the world you're about to see when we test it is actually going to be based on my next VR chat world I'm developing. Technically speaking, it's going to be a testing bay, but the next big one I'm going to be doing is like a mini roleplay village. That's why I started doing the whole spotting objects lesson. Now I will also let you guys know now. I have something cool to show you guys. So I am going to go ahead and head upstairs using this elevator. When we go upstairs, we're going to go ahead and see our skee ball game. Now keep in mind, this is global. The skee ball game is global. The skee ball game is global. So, ta-da, there's the skee ball. So how do you play? You just press the start button. Ta-da! And then you can watch me flop with some balls here. Now remember, this is VR game logic, so do keep that in mind. There's gonna be VR logic we're gonna be dealing with. So you gotta have to be very careful. I think I saw a ball here, go here somewhere. That's okay. But I just wanted to show you guys that. Okay, now, but there's more. Hold up, there's more. Because now, go downstairs. We're gonna go down to the first floor, and we're gonna drive the truck. That's from that's from Stack Vehicles and Flight prefab. Now the next lesson after this is going to be the last one before you can start learning how to upload. It's the last one before uploading. So the truck here is from Stack Vehicles and Flight, and this is how it looks. Now there is a gas station component you can actually do, but I'm going to save that for the actual VR chat world I'm making. I'm not going to do it now just because this is more of a world for you guys to understand how to learn how to develop a actual VR chat world. And I forgot to put something there. That's okay. The respawn, the truck, it's right here. Ta-da! Right now, let's do some fun stuff. Do some fun stuff. So that's a skee ball and truck. But there's more you can do. Let's continue to see what else we can play with when it comes to a VR chat world. So obviously, a lot of you guys who make VR chat world have something else in common. That is a TV. And to get that, we use the database I just showed you. U Sharp Video is what it's called. This is the most common prefab. It's by Merlin VR. It's the most common prefab that you're going to grab when it comes to VR chat, world development. All you have to do is press code, get download zip, and you're gonna see U Sharp Video Master.zip. You want to open that, and then what you want to do is you go to your VCC, VRChat Creator Companion. You want to go to your this arrow, open project folder. Then what you want to do is copy the View Sharp Video Master, go to Assets, and then paste. It counts as an asset because you're adding something to the world or to the file system of Unity. Then go back to your Unity, and then you're going to get this. Make sure when you go back to Unity, you let it do its thing. Do not do anything that's going to interfere. Once it does its thing, we can start adding our little TV. Excuse me. One of the most common prefabs in the VR chat world, the TV, the U Sharp video. Let's make sure there are not any warning other than this stuff. You're good. Now you may be wondering what does the warning mean. So there's two types, yellow and red, and but there's two types of red. Red runtime error is a runtime error, meaning there's something wrong going on with the world while in runtime. That's not good, and you need to fix that. Those will let you allow to test and build your world. The yellow warning is not as serious, and you can still download. Not download, but you can still play. It's when you get the red one that is runtime that's going to be a problem. The next thing we want to do is use Sharp Video. We want to go to Assets, use Sharp Video, and then you want to do the prefab, use Sharp Video. And then we're going to rotate it. Believe it is this way, yes. And then we're going to scale it down to about right there. And then we're going to go ahead and move it to the wall. Right around there. We can move it down. Now it's white right now, but that's okay. Go to the inspector. You're going to notice a few of this. You can do a playlist URL, mostly from YouTube. You can also do that. So if you have like a playlist of videos from YouTube, you can do that. If you make music on the side and you want to share that in your own world, you can do that as long as it's in a playlist. Alright? You can also shuffle it and then you can change the volume, and all that cool stuff. So that's one common prefab that you see. Another prefab that you always see is something called QV pen. Another thing you could see is QV pen. Let me see if it's here because I don't think it's on the database here. Let's see. No, elevator. I already have one. Okay, probably not what I was thinking. Oh, it's probably on boot. That's why. It's probably on boot. Let's see. Yes, it is on boot. It's these kind of things. QV pen. But I think there's a free version of this. Let's see if I can find it. Let me actually Google this. Let's see. QV pen VR chat. This one. This is the one right here. QV pen by this guy. Download that. It's free. There's a 500 yen option. That 500 yen option is a support link. Okay. Okay. That's a support link. You do not need to do that if you do not want to. But I'm going to tell you now, I recommend it. And the reason being is because they are providing this stuff for you for free. But they make the asset for you, so it makes sense to have them let you support them. But you do not need to pay to buy this asset. It just so happens that they have a support link for you to purchase said item. It's not a requirement. But I recommend you support your fellow VRChat world developers, your VRChat world developer asset makers, because they work hard to make this for you in a way. We're gonna grab the asset. There's two versions. We're gonna grab this one. Ta-da! There's a pen. It's one of the most. It's some of the most common prefabs that you're going to ever find in a VRChat world, other than a mirror. Now you may be wondering why am I lowering it down? VRChat height of characters is usually 3 or 4 feet in respective to the ground. 3 to 4 feet. The the tallest NBA player I believe is 7. Okay, the tallest NBA player I believe is 7 feet, and the highest Mobian, which is the Sonic character, is I believe 3 feet, 3 or 4. So that's why I'm lowering it down so that it's easier to reach. For in respective to a character like a Sonic character. Now, obviously, you can cheat the system by raising your height in VRChat. If you want to, that's fine too. So now that we have your pens, your TV screen, what else can you add? The possibilities are endless. And again, that database I showed you earlier, that's just one taste of it. Now I want to show you guys something cool. But before I do that, something cool, I do need to grab a mini golf system. I believe somebody made one. It's not Walkabout mini golf. There is mini golf in VRChat already, but I want to show you guys how to somebody made a system for VRChat to allow you to make one. It's called OpenPut. OpenPut is spelled OPENPUTT, like put as in golf. So this is called the OpenPut system, which I'm going to show you guys, but I'm not going to go over the whole thing today. I just want to present the system so that you guys can check it out for yourselves. I'm going to go ahead and add the repository. That is the common thing. First, you will need the Vernis. I already actually have this. It's in my VCC. So Varneon is actually a VR Java developer as well. He's actually making a writing thing that's going on. All right, making like a VR chat world where you can drive and stuff. So we need the one that says for Dion, and then for Neon over here. Then we're going to add the OpenPut repository. All you have to do is go to add VCC. Then you're going to go ahead and press open, and then in your VCC you press I understand add repository. You must add the repository for it to work. Otherwise, it will not work. Then you go back to general. I mean, you go back to projects. You go to your manage project. Then you find a repository that you just added, which is the open put. Press plus. Then we need one more. We need the Verneon V Udon. Let me just make sure we added the right one. That is the V Udon. This middle one. Add to VCC. We already did. I already did that. Let's see what we need. So, so that's what you can do. You have the Borneon stuff. You have this stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do. That is the array extensions, no clip, and logger. So let's go ahead and find those. I know I have that here. Let's see here. See if we have the other stuff we need. Let's see here. Let me add all three just in case. This is that one, and then we have to go back to Unity. I can actually run a tutorial once I learn this more. But once you added all the things you're gonna need, you're going to see the mini golf thingy. Let me see what we got. For the mini golf, it's going to be let me see what we got. That's not it. Hold on. Let me just make sure one thing. It's probably a package. Yeah, it's probably a package. Sometimes if we go to packages, so keep that in mind. Let me see what we got here. Pro Builder, no. Let me actually search it. There it is. So we have our mini golf thingy here. Oh no, we have our mini map. Hold on. Did I add it already? Let me just make sure. No, I did not. Open putt. You need to add open putt in there. Oops. Okay, why did it not work? See here. Oh, experimental. I have to find that one. I forgot to add that one. Let me just make sure I added the right thing. Let me just make sure. Okay, probably I made a mistake of the way I found it. Let me see. The udon. There we go. What do we need? We need because we need a few things. It said no. Basically, you have everything. Array extension, logger, no clip. Let's look for those. Um, let's see if it actually works here because I just added it. Now remember, if you don't want to make a mini golf system, you do not have to use this one. You can go to boot, find what you need, and all that. My goal here for today is to showcase of how to do stuff. But the next lesson on Thursday, I'm gonna start teaching you how to optimize stuff because there's some rules that we need to go over for Thursday's lesson. Okay, that's what it was for. I forgot to be dude on, and then we have seats as well. Now again, you do not need to buy. You don't need to get buy everything or buy anything if you do not want to. It's not mandatory. I'm downloading some extra stuff just in case. Now, some asset makers, especially in the video game development world, have their own editors, and you might get one with this one with the open put. You will get one with the open put. I believe that's one of the things that they highlighted. Now you're going to get an error that says Blender cannot be found. Ignore that. That is not a runtime error. That's fine. Blender, as in the application for like modeling, it is not required, but that is how people make these assets. But again, Blender is not it's not required. Oh, player tracker. Oh no, I did not mean to do that one. Oops. Sometimes I'll add some packages I don't mean to add. Oh, Seeds has invalid dependencies. Oh, okay. I was not expecting that. So sometimes I'm gonna get stuff I'm not expecting. Okay, it's yellow. That's fine. So now we can go outside and let's add our little game. So let's add our little golf course. Let's go to Open Putt. Open Putt is a package. We go to packages. We go to Open Putt. We go to the actually it's up here too. Open Putt. Let's open. Let's import the samples. And let us take a look at this demo scene. So this is the demo scene that comes with the OpenPut system. And it's going to show you of how to download, how to use it. What's going on, Chow? So each asset pack has their own thing. Okay, I'm gonna remove this just because I don't want to confuse everybody. So I'm gonna remove the demo scene, the one for the mini golf, because now I want to show you guys some other stuff. So this mini golf kit will eventually be used in my next VR chat world. I also have City Worlds kit, mini dungeon, as well as some others. So you looking a little preview of the game I'm developing as well, by the way. The little card game is a game I'm making by myself. But I'm not gonna demonstrate that today. So as you guys can see, I downloaded a modular sci-fi mega kit. Free. It was a free one. And this is also available to use in Unity. Okay? So if you want to make a sci-fi based world, you can. Now this one is free, but if you want the pro version, it's $10. You can also get the mega kit for a stylized nature. If you're doing game development, this is also another good spot for you. If you want a city pack, you can do that as well. So all this is available to you. Sometimes you do have to purchase this. This one does not have a free demo. Therefore, you must purchase this. You cannot get this for free. Game assets. This one is $20. That is not my price. That is their price. And then other stuff that is in here. Now, keep in mind, you gotta remember, this is also where the game developers thrive as well, like game devs, indie game devs. I'm actually trying to see if I can make an action-packed game, action game in RPG Maker. That is for MZ, however, not MV. And then you have the Sci-Fi Essentials kit, which I believe is free. Yes, standard is free. So if you ever wanted to make your own sci-fi world, this is where you can find it. Now, I want to remind you guys, when you're making your own VR chat world, don't just put random assets just for the sake of, hey, I made this world, please check it out. That's not what you're there for. Other than, yes, you're there to make a VR chat world, but it needs to make sense. By making sense, I mean like making sense to the theme you are trying to present. Because if there are mismatches, then people are not going to visit your world because it's a mismatch of the world of the stuff you want to select. All right? Don't just throw stuff in there just because I can show you what I purchased. That's not what this is about. This is about you making a VR chat world that your friends and other people are interested in playing in. Because once you place this in VR chat up there, once you upload your world in VR chat, people are going to notice your world development skills. Now, what does this also translate to? If you are a VR chat world developer, you are halfway to being a video game developer. Why? Because VR chat world, in my opinion, is like making an environment for people to play in. It's just not a game. It's a game, it's a world inside of a game called VR Chat because it's a social platform. But once you learn how to make an environment in VR Chat, you are halfway to being a developer of a video game because some of the same skills you learn as a VR Chat world developer can be easily transferred into being a video game developer. The only difference is with VR Chat, you're only publishing to VR chat. With a video game, you can publish to Epic, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, all that good stuff. PC as well. So what you're learning in here is like saying, I'm giving you the lessons of being a VR chat world developer, but at the same time, if you're into video game development, you're halfway there. The other half of being a video game developer is understanding other game development techniques like programming. I showed you a little bit in this lesson tutorial series with Udon graphs, but I want to remind you that the real video game development the real video game development job is not a graph. It's not a node system. It's literally written code. Because what I'm showing you is a visual representation of coding. Okay, what I showed you a few lessons ago. So that is just a warm up to video game development. This is just a warm up to video game development. The only difference is you're mostly creating an environment. The programming is secondary in VR chat. The in video game development, it's the other way. It's half. It's half half. The environment, the level design is the first half. The programming, the animations, and all that, that's the second half. The easier part is the environment development. The harder part is the programming. And this, the VRChat World Dev, is like a bridge from, it's like a bridge system. It's environment development and programming, but the programming is secondary. That's what I want to teach you here as well. And then, speaking of, I want to teach you something. On Thursday, we're going to do optimization to get you ready for your first upload of a VRChat world. Because once you learn how to upload stuff and optimize your world for players to play in, then you get a deeper appreciation for how much work a VRChat world dev goes through every day. What I just showed you in about 6 lessons is just part of a VRChat world. Okay, this little house, this little apartment thing, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to VRChat world dev. Because I will tell you now, the most popular VRChat worlds are not even from actual video game devs. Okay, they might be. Let me take that back a little bit. The most popular VRChat world devs out there, like the one who does Putt Putt Golf or like Murder 4, they may not be actual game devs. Like they may not be actual game developers from Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, but they learned this on their own. On their own time, they learned how to do coding, and I learned how to do VRChat world development by myself as well. That's why I am able to give you these lessons because I learned it and I want to pass it on to you guys, especially on YouTube. So that's why I learned. That's why I hope you understand about world development or game development, game design. Now, by itself, this world is not a good world to start uploading yet. But I'm only showing you guys this is because for the sake of tutorial. When you really look at it, let me show you my most popular world. It's that one. It's the Moonlight House, which I'm going to remake eventually in the future because now I learned how to do this and that. I learned I learned a lot of new skills just by showing you guys, hey, I learned how to make a VR chat world. And you never know, I might even make a video game. Okay? I'm already showing you guys I'm already making a video game on itch.io. It's just not a Xbox. Okay? So let me show you the worlds I made. So the one I want to present to you is this one. Now I'm not gonna play it. I just want to show you. I'm gonna play the video I made for this about a few years ago. I'm gonna remake this world because I learned so much more from my first time being a world developer. This is back in 2022, I think. So as you can see, if you guys remember this, I've shown you this world before. I presented this world before on my VRChat road stream. So, so as you guys can see, this is going to change a lot. So what you see right now is just a taste of what I used to do a lot. So those neon lights, I had to learn how to do the whole cornering, the whole thing, the whole stuff. That was not as easy as it looked. I changed the light colors because of a character. And then you see those pens? Now, they're rotated because I put them into the shelf. I put those pens into the shelf, but it's the exact same thing. It's the QV pen.
1.25.
So you might be
Thousand
wondering why is there a
tile.
pink room and why is this a green blue room? That's Luna the Wolf and Francis the Wolf. They're sisters, brother sister in the story. Luna is pink, Francis the Wolf is cyan. That's the story there. But
Energia room.
I wanna save something for
Okay?
that later on.
That's coming up.
I don't want to spoil it. It's a VR chat
Angel Tiles
it's a
room
VR chat roleplay thing.
is going to be next to Francis the Wolf, right here.
So that is a taste of my VR chat world dev experience when I started back in 2022. Now in 2025, I'm ready to remake this world. A little bit way better than back in 2022. Just because of how I learned. And I will tell you, I used community assets too. Is it a bad thing to use them? No, it's not. The only thing is you want to make sure when there's a balance, there's a certain balance that you must have in order to understand world development when it comes to community assets. You cannot just 100% use all community assets. I un- you can try it just to see, hey, this is my first time doing this. That's fine. But once you get used to it and understand world development, Unity, and all that like, you can start to understand the appreciation. You can start to appreciate how much time and effort a VR chat world developer goes through, and you can also appreciate how much time and effort and money that they spend. Because I'm gonna tell you now, certain worlds are have money spent on them seriously, and I'm not kidding. Um, these worlds now, this one that I'm making for you guys is for this tutorial. Not too much money spent. Actually, if you take a look at it, it's free. Most of the assets here are free except for one. This parking lot is actually from a pack I found online on sale for $20. Original price is $60 if you buy the whole asset right now on the Unity Asset Store. But this is actually from a package I purchased a few weeks ago, but at a discount of $20. So I only got it for $20, but the original price is 60. So technically, this world cost me $20 to make. But if you really think about it, without the discount, it's $60. Now, does this mean, oh, all of a sudden I'm telling you to spend money on VR Chat World? No, because there's a way to make VR Chat Worlds for free, and then there's a way to use money to make VR Chat Worlds. Now, what's the best case scenario? Because the community assets and all that. The best case scenario is based on your budget. Don't just spend money on assets just because, hey, this is this thing or that's that thing. The only time you want to spend money on assets is if you have something in mind. What I mean by that is a theme. Let's go to my Unity Asset Store. And that is why a lot of people have a Patreon, by the way. If you are a VR chat world developer and have a Patreon, that makes a lot of sense because not a lot of people want to buy stuff. Okay, so let's go to the Unity Asset Store. I just want to give you an example of something here. Remember, this is a site for video game development, but because Unity VR Chat uses Unity, they combine together to allow you to make these worlds using assets from the asset store and from everywhere else. So let's say, for example, you want to purchase an asset pack or package that deals with a role play. Let's say we are going to be doing now the one I showed you earlier in boot. Let me see if I can find it again. Let me go to sci-fi because I know I just showed you an asset pack. Let me go to my library. Yeah, this one. This one is free, so there's really no cost there. But let's say your team is gonna be the next role play. It's a city, and then there's gonna be like a hospital scene. What do you need for a hospital scene? Duh, you need a hospital prefab. And how much does that cost? We're about to find out. So we go to Unity Asset Store. Let's say hospital theme. Say our next role play is a hospital or takes place at a hospital. Now, yeah, there are hospital worlds in VRChat. Let's not kid ourselves. But let's say that you want to make it your own. That is where you go. And as you guys can already see, the cheapest hospital pack is $29. Okay, $25 if you do the whole hospital laboratory thing. And remember, in a hospital, laboratories are separated from the rooms, separated from hospital rooms. They're not the same. Now, one of the things you want to look for is two things. There's two things you must be very about if you're looking to purchase an asset pack from anywhere. Unity, the boot thing, all that. Is it compatible with your Unity version? Let's find out. Also, if you're planning to go at this in VR, like with a headset, or trying to make this into a video game of sort, is it compatible with your Unity version? In this case, the original Unity version is 2022.3.10. This one we are running at in terms of VRChat is 2022.3.22F1. So in that regard, yes, you're fine. The second thing you want to look for in details wise is it for you? What are you looking for or a screenshot? You want to look at screenshots. What do the prefabs look like? What is the overall feel? And then what you want to pay attention to is the description, as well as other stuff that you can use to combine. So, for example, hospital room. That is a hospital room prefab. That's also from the same guy. $20, however. Like I mentioned earlier, the lavatory and a room are two different things in a hospital. Therefore, you're spending about $45 if you want to team it under a hospital, excuse me. So my recommendation in this particular case is just to find one in VRChat that's already made by somebody else. But I want to remind you guys that don't be afraid to purchase something to support the developer and to use it in your world because you like it. There's a common thing of I have to purchase this now, otherwise the world the my audience won't like it. That's not that's a myth. There's two there's two types of VR chat world developers out there. The ones who want to spend as little as possible, and the ones that want to showcase more of their development. And there's a middle part. The middle part is who wants to be in the middle. They support the developers by purchasing assets, but then they also make them themselves through other means other than Blender. So that's why it's important to understand the balance between purchasing assets and making them yourself. Now, there is a big question. Do you need to make them yourself all the time? The answer is no. And that's why Boot exists, the prefab database exists, it's.io exists, or other developers out there. And some of you are wondering, can I have somebody do it for me? And that's the answer is yes. Somebody does some people will offer services to create something for you. Don't be afraid to do that. Because if you do that, not only will they respect you as a world developer, you respect them as a creator, and not only that, it's a domino effect. The more quality you show off in a VR chat world or video game, the more appreciative they are going to be toward visiting your world or playing your video game. And the more effort and the more programming and the more this and that they see, and the more they see that you are trying to make it interactive or make it more fun to play in, then then they're gonna play with your world a lot more than what you saw earlier. And this is for any type of world. It can be an FPS world. It can be a movie, watch chill out thing. You can even make a movie theater in VR chat all of a sudden. And then you can make like a movie house, a mall, or some concept thing. It's up to you. Your imagination is your limit when it comes to VR chat world development. You are the developer. Think about it this way. You are the developer, the community is there to back you up with assets, prefabs, modeling, and then the reward. The reward, uploading your world. The response, them playing your world. You never know. A developer of an asset that you purchased, sometimes they can come by your world. And if they do, awesome. You made them a brand new friend. If they don't worry. Have your friends play. Have your friends play your world. This is your time to understand the feedback based on the effort you put into your world. If you put in a lot of effort, awesome. That's what they want to see. They don't want it's just like on YouTube. As a YouTube video editor, what they want to see in a VR chat world, your friends and everybody else, they want to see your effort in terms of quality, um, what they can play with, because everybody wants to play with stuff, and what is inside of that world. If the world they are presented with is dull, boring, no fun things to play with, other than the TV and the pens, they're going to leave because there's nothing else to do. Now, if it's a beta test, that's one thing. If it's a beta test, that's one thing. That's okay. It's just like, okay, we're just testing this out. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it. That's fine. That's one thing. The but the other way around is where you don't show effort at all and you just upload for the sake of uploading a world. That's not good. So you got to think about balancing the community assets, your assets, and what it boils down to is what does your audience, what does the VR chat community want? They want pens, they want TV, they want popcorn, they want activity, they want golfing, they want skee ball, they want an arcade, they want everything. You got to give them as much as you can, especially if you're into VR chat world dev. Because I'm gonna tell you, my first world, the one I showed you, the one about the one with the bakery, this one right here. I was looking at my theme for this was more of a little village,
Remember, I'm
a
starting
little
to add
village.
me a coffee thing to
Why is
support
it
the
like a little
channel.
village? Because
And
you can see here on the left side you have a bakery, you have a bakery, you have a house to your right.
but the thing with free assets is that everybody
Now, if the
knows
voice
where
sounds
you are.
different, I have a voice mod, which I'm
They
coming back to.
it's
Over here, at actual, the last update I ever did for this world, there was going to be a car lot where you can get a car. That was planned. It's coming back, but I'm going to redo it. So I'm giving you guys a taste of what it's like to be a VR Java dev while showing you guys today's lesson. So the moral of the story is this: is using community assets a bad thing? No. You just have to balance it out because what you want to do is understand and showcase, hey, check out this developer who made this asset. That's fine. Make it happen. But don't use 100% Unity. I mean, not 100% um like community assets. At least spend some time learn Blender, or in some cases you want to make shapes with Pro Builder. And then understand, hey, I want to learn how to program a light, or I want to understand how to program teleportation. That's what they want to see. And when the time comes, hey, your first world, look, your first world ain't gonna be the best world, but it's not gonna be the last one. You just gotta understand, keep building on what you learn as a VR chat world dev. It's the exact same thing in game development, and it's the same thing in life. You build on top of what you learned in the past. Like I mentioned earlier, with my little village, Moonlight House, which is Moonlight Village. This was going to be a car lot. I didn't know there was an asset from Melon that allowed SACC where you can get a car. I didn't even know that until now. I did not know about animating objects. Now I do. Guess what happens in the bakery once I learn how to do it? You see the
and
bakery,
yes,
right?
top.
Let me see if I can.
The
Let me see if
more
I
we
actually went inside.
so
I
they're
did.
much better chairs, I think.
I did go inside.
We also
So you see the
have
stuff on the left,
food
like
that's
all that
great
stuff.
for you.
I can let you press a button now
Something
to get a
planning.
Coke,
Let's just
to
say
get a
I'm
Pepsi
learning
or
how to
soda
animate
in a
stuff
VR chat world.
in Unity.
I gotta learn it first,
So you get to
but hey,
see that later
it's
when it's
coming.
ready.
You
We
press
have
button, you
chairs,
press a button, and you're going to
so
get
they're much better
VR chat.
chairs, I
You're
think.
gonna get some soda.
We also have the food
That's
that's
the
great
idea.
for you. So yeah, if you want a burger,
And now that you have these objects, then you can role play with them. So that's my point. And how many visits does it have? Ever since 2000, ever since I first uploaded this, 2,231. Now that doesn't sound like much compared to other worlds. Let's not kid ourselves. However, that's a lot more than I was expecting. Let me just tell you that right now. I was never expecting 2,231 visitors in my in one of my very first world I ever developed. Never ever ever expecting that. There was no way. A few months later, I was at 500. A few months later did that, 1,000. Today, this particular world is at 2,231. And I gotta remind you, I have not updated this ever since. And now I'm telling you, there's a remake underway because I am learning from that. I'm learning from that world to give you guys an idea of what the remake looks like. Now, would it be a new house? We'll see. But my goal is to build on top of that from what I learned and what I know now as a VR chat world dev all these years later. Okay? That's what I wanted to hammer home. And again, I also developed worlds for PvP. This is a PvP. That's a PvP. Um, that one too, although I never went back to it. This is for Dungeons and Dragons. It never took off as I wanted to. But my lesson for you guys is this: the community is there to help you. You just got to learn how to balance what you use and what you don't use. And hey, if your first world that you make is a success, great. Build on that for your second one. And then understand, and then come back to me. I mean, not come back to me. When you make your first world, when on Thursday, when we understand optimization and learn how to upload a world, come back to me, come back to these videos about like a year later, and then come back to this part where I talk about the whole don't forget to understand your audience thing, and then think back to that day. I watched this video and learned about world development from a perspective of a person who's done it. Come back to me one more year later, and then tell me your success story. And even though your first world doesn't work, still come back to me. I'm gonna see what's wrong, and we're gonna fix it. Because I I I will tell you how this all started. Story time, and then I'm gonna call it. Here's the story of the day. You guys ready? Good. Okay. Story time. Okay. The reason why I learned how to make VR chat worlds, and when I first learned VR chat world development, it was actually because um so back in 2023, when I first thought about VR chat world development, I was supposed to go to Barcelona for vacation. You know, vacation and all that. And then it turned out the flight was canceled. Okay, what does this have to do with VRChat World Dev? Because that was when I started learning more role play stuff at the time. Okay, and then I was like on the plane ride back home to LA. On the plane itself, I was thinking, let me think about what I can do at home. And then I remembered VRChat World Development. And then I started making my first world. My first world was not this. It was this. But it was it was me learning VRChat World Dev at the first time. And then I decided to drop this. 2023, folks. Actually, I dropped this first, but it was not until after that I dropped this. The the village thing, the Moonlight House thing. You got to remember, it all started after a canceled trip to Barcelona. Okay, and all of a sudden, here I am talking to you guys about world development all these years later. And now, this is getting a remake eventually. This one is getting a remake, not this. This one. I made this for my birthday. This one, I made this for you. Okay? So, yeah. Enjoy the process of world development. Okay? Enjoy it and optimize it. Speaking of optimizing it, we'll see you on Thursday for the optimization lesson. All right? So don't forget, we'll be back on Thursday with this. Tomorrow we have Mario Maker, um, 5:30 and 9:30. If you guys are interested in Mario Maker, um, send me your levels. Feel free to Kaizo me all you want. I'm expected to get Kaizo tomorrow anyway. We'll talk again. I will have a new model for my Mario Maker stuff. My new VTuber model, as in I'm gonna make it myself using VTube Studio. I mean not VTube Studio, VC Face thingy, and then we'll have more VR Chat World Dev on Thursday. Enjoy, everybody. Have a great night, and remember what I said. Your first world may not be the best, but it's certainly not your last. Keep building on what you made, because sometime in the very near future, you will be paid in views, and you'll be rewarded by showcasing what you can do. Have a great night. We bid you adieu.